Hello, everyone. I am Karen Key, the president for IREM Georgia, and I have the pleasure today to sit here with Jamie Teabo, Senior Managing Director at Greystar, and talk to her a little bit about her career in real estate. So, Jamie, will you share with me your story about how you decided to make real estate your career choice?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. Looking forward to sharing a little bit about myself and my journey through this wonderful multifamily career. But I actually, as most people, got into the business by accident, randomly. I had a neighbor of mine that worked for Post Properties. Her name was Mary Payne. She was the mother of Billy Payne, who helped bring the Olympics to Atlanta all those years ago. And she told me about this wonderful company she worked for. She knew I was getting ready to graduate from college and said, you should go talk to them. And so I did. I went and had a couple interviews at Post and was hired. And I thought, well, I'll do this for a year and a half, see how I like it. Well, many, many years later, I've had a wonderful career and had great opportunities. And it's just been a real pleasure to work with all the people I've had the privilege of working with and get involved with all these great industries.
I think it's funny, especially our generation, right? I think all of us always say how we fell into the industry or we just happened into the industry. And I love that today it's intentional. There's college courses and there's degrees specifically for this industry. So I love seeing that morph. And it's going to be interesting 20 years from now, the stories that we hear and how people answer that question differently, I think.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
tell us a little bit about Greystar and your current responsibilities there.
Sure. I've been at Greystar for 5 years now. Hard to believe. It seems like yesterday. And I run operations for the Southeast. So I oversee about 240 properties, just under 80,000 units in 5 states. So that's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. So I'm involved in new business development and how the properties are performing and making sure we've got the appropriate staffing levels, not only on site, but corporately. Really making sure we're communicating to all of our clients how the properties are performing operationally. Obviously, we've just been through a really different 2 years of how to operate the business with the pandemic. And so we deal with over 90 clients in the Southeast alone. So just making sure communication levels were appropriate and pivoting week to week or month to month based on what was going on in our external environments just brought a whole new challenge and a whole new level of what to focus on, right? And so, now we're easing back into a little bit of more normalized operations, but also changed forever, right? We've
Couldn't agree
realized
more.
things can be done differently. Things can be done differently and better. So it's been a real exciting time after so many years in the business to really pivot and learn and realize we need to be more out of the box on how we can operate, how we can communicate, how we can stay engaged with our on-site associates. So, my job sort of encompasses all of that.
No, I love it. And, different topic for a different day. I think we could have a whole other hour session. I'm right there with you. I'm curious to see how the last 2 years have or will change the landscape of what we do and how we do it forever. But wow, I mean, look at what you have under you at Greystar and everything you get to touch and all the facets of multifamily and real estate that you get to be involved in. What is your favorite part of real estate?
I think the thing that has kept me engaged in this business for so many years and really still have a passion every day when I get up and go to work is that every day is different in property management, right? It's not boring. You never know what's going to come across your desk on any given day. And to me, that's so exciting that you're never in a rut. There's always something new and different. There's always something changing. especially on the fee side of the business, which was new to me 5 years ago. I worked for an owner operator public company for many, many years, grew up there, started on site leasing apartments, ended up running the management company. So I touched a lot of aspects of the job along the way, which afforded me really great knowledge on a whole host of topics, right? Marketing, technology, revenue management, in addition to focusing on just, overall management and operations. So I've had the ability over many years to have my hands in a bunch of different areas, which is stimulating and refreshing. But every day I get up and I'm like, I still want to go to work. So I love the people I work with. I think multifamily overall, both on the management end as well as the associate members and vendor side, it's a great industry where you build long lasting relationships. Everybody is so supportive, whether you work for a competing company or not. It's just overall a really refreshing industry to be involved in, and one that continues to evolve and change on a daily basis.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Every day is definitely different. And like you and I, we've never had the pleasure of working directly at the company at the same time or in the same exact space, but I feel like I've known you forever because our industry is such a tight knit one. So Jamie, what are you most proud of in your career?
Gosh, I think when I look back over all of the years and the different opportunities I've had and the different job responsibilities I've had, what makes me the most proud is watching people that I've had the privilege of working with achieve their goals. I've always been a proponent of internal promotions. I always say, if I'm having to go hire from outside the company, then I haven't done my job to get somebody ready to take on a new role. So I think my biggest accomplishment, or what I'm most proud of, is seeing people that I've worked with accelerate their careers and be super successful. That makes me proud.
No, that's amazing, and that's a testament to you and your character. And anyone who knows you has definitely seen that with you. And it's interesting that that's your greatest accomplishment, because you're currently, and don't let me forget or leave anything out, you're currently a board member of the Georgia Apartment Association, as well as a board member of the Atlanta Apartment Association. You're a recent past president of the Atlanta Apartment Association. You're also an officer on the board of directors for the Georgia Institute of Real Estate Management, IREM. You hold your certified property manager, your CPM designation with IREM. You've had that since 2004, as well as your Georgia real estate license. And let's not forget, you said you have 240 properties and over 90 clients in the Southeast at work. So how do you balance it all? Family, work, volunteer, and organizations? How do you squeeze it all in?
It's, it's time management at its best, right? A couple ways. One, I am involved in so many things because I feel a passion about giving back to the industry that's given me so much. So if somebody reaches out and says, we would like you, to do this, or be involved in this, it's my duty, in my opinion, to get involved and give back. Now, can I participate in every function at all of these institutions? I can't, but I do my best to do as much as I can. And I have really fantastic people that work for me and with me that can pick up, some pieces if I need them to pick up some pieces, and also help get involved in these organizations. I also am very lucky to work for a company that allows me to participate in a lot of extracurricular activities for the industry. So I feel very fortunate in that as well. And look, it's a great opportunity for me to give back. It's a great opportunity for me to meet new people, and continue to learn as I, continue my career.
No, and that's great. And I love how you said that it is time management. I think a lot of what we do is time management, right? But you're able to leave your mark and you're able to be impactful at all these organizations, even if you can't attend every single event. And I think that's so important for people to realize that you can still make a difference even if you can't do everything that's on the calendar. Don't let that hold you back from getting involved. So that's a great testament. But, if we piggyback on that, you didn't use any of these as your greatest accomplishment. You talked about developing people. You're known for earning the respect of your employees and breeding loyalty. And I think that's probably going to tie into how and what you take pride in, right? So what is your word of advice for our viewers on how to create that loyalty and that bond with your employees and with those that have any contact with you at work?
Yeah, and I think you earn that right? I mean, you have to ensure you're part of the team and not someone that thinks they're above the team. I think I have some credibility because, as I said earlier, I started on site leasing apartments and I did every job, right? I was an assistant manager, I was a property manager, I was a regional manager. I worked with marketing and IT. And so I have a little bit of knowledge in a whole host of areas. But I also know what I don't know, so I'm not afraid to say, I'm not an expert in that, or I'm not really very knowledgeable in that. Let's go to somebody who is. So I think it's one, I have some credibility in that I've worked my way up. I don't want to say paid my dues because I think you constantly pay your dues every day. But I'm also willing to get in the trenches. I like to go out on site. I like to be on the real estate. I like to talk to the team members. What's going on? How is it going? I like to feel the chemistry of the team on site. It's so important to the success of a property. So I think the fact that I still remain as involved as I can be, given what my responsibilities are, really lends some credibility to my position, and that, I'm here for them. If they aren't successful, I'm not successful. So I think it really stems from keeping in touch, being available, and willing to jump in and get your hands dirty.
I love that. I mean, you are a shining example of that servant leader. And being that servant leader and being accessible keeps you human to those who work with you. So no matter how high you get in the company, people don't see you as just that figurehead. They see you as who you are because of the way your character shines through in everything you do. So, I mean, kudos to you. You definitely have a phenomenal reputation among the industry with those who have worked with you and those who haven't ever had the pleasure. So let's shift gears to IREM for a second. So how did you get involved with IREM Georgia? You obviously had a bunch of other things on your plate. So how did you find IREM Georgia too?
Yes, I joined IREM when I was at Post Properties. And honestly, it was a company initiative at the time that, hey, we want our regional managers, and they were called area vice presidents at Post, but, end up to be involved in IREM Georgia and to get their CPM designations and really, one, give back to the industry, but two, to, network, build relationships and gain knowledge, from IREM. So back in, I think you said it was 2004. I'm not even sure what year it was, but so a few years before that, I started to get involved and start my CPM track and take my classes and get my CPM. And I can still remember to this day a lot of the interviews for your CPM application and your experience checklist are done over the phone, right? An interview over the phone. It was in person back in the day. And I still remember the individual that came to interview me for my industry experience and see my office and all that. I remember it vividly as part of my CPM process. And it was, he was fantastic. I wish I could remember his name. I feel badly that I don't, but I can remember the interview and the discussion, and really, he really made me want to get involved, not just get my CPM designation, but really, be a part of the organization and meet new people and do whatever I could do for the industry. So I credit him for sort of bringing me along. And it's a great organization. We are so fortunate to have Dr. Debbie, to have Deborah Westfall, to have leaders like Kevin and yourself, and then Jonathan coming up behind you that are so passionate and involved in this organization. And honestly, I look forward to getting more involved because I do feel like it's been unfortunately hit or miss as to when I'm able to attend the events, but I think it's such a valuable part of our industry and really provides great educational opportunities for our team members, as well as networking opportunities. So I think it's fantastic. And I think we have a really great set of leadership folks at the Georgia chapter.
I agree that the Georgia chapter definitely brings another level of energy. I don't know that I fall into that category of Dr. Debbie, Deborah, and Shannon Longino, but
Shannon,
I
yes.
mean, those three in a room,
Oh, yeah, I know.
Georgia shows up.
Yeah, well, then it makes me feel bad, right? I'm like, boy, if those three powerhouses have the time, right? Then Lord knows I have the time to get it done.
Exactly. So, I mean, it sounds like you've been involved with IREM for a while and you have a lot of great stories. What's your favorite memory of an IREM associated event?
I think there's a lot. One, well, as I just spoke, my actual interview, I mean, it obviously made such a huge impression on me. If I can, think back to him sitting in my office and talking about the industry. I mean, that's really how I started to get involved. So that was super impactful and a strong memory for me from many years ago. But honestly, Deborah Westfall's enthusiasm for this organization and this industry. I mean, you can't help anytime you have a conversation with Deborah, whether it's on the phone or in person or via text, you can't help but feel that excitement and passion come through any of those communications, and just want to raise your hand to say, I'm in, let me help. I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to the June event with the roast of Dr. Debbie. I think that's going to be a fabulous event and I can't wait. But there's been so many. I think the networking events are fantastic. I always love the annual market update we get from David Hadow. I think those are super timely and valuable. So I think, anytime we can all get together and share stories and network is fantastic.
Could not agree more. The networking opportunities within IRM it's just so tremendous. I mean, for new members, for existing members, for the legacy leaders, everybody can always gain something. I'm right there with you. I think the Hadow updates at the beginning of every year are probably one of my favorite things we do every year, just because it brings in so many facets of real estate and you can see the big picture of how everything is being impacted. But yeah, back to Deborah. If you don't leave a room or hang up the phone from talking to Deborah and have a smile on your face and ready to volunteer to take on the world, I'm not sure what was going on, because she just kind of leaves that energy with you.
She sure does. She puts me to shame.
I'm like, do we all have to? I can't do that. That's just not me. I don't have that much energy. No, she's fantastic. We need her in our lives. She keeps us going.
Yes, she does.
So, Jamie, as we wrap up today, what advice do you want to leave, or what knowledge do you want to leave with our viewers and for our IREM members or other real estate partners that might be watching this today, that you want to make sure they take away from this opportunity to step into the spotlight with Jamie for a little bit?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, raise your hand and get involved. If somebody is reaching out and providing an opportunity for you, take advantage of it. I am so fortunate over the years to have been provided opportunities and given different responsibilities. And whether it's something you want to do long-term or short-term, or something you really didn't think you wanted to do at all, it's a great opportunity to learn a new skill set, to meet new people. And it could have lasting effects on your career. So I always say, raise your hand. If there's an opportunity that presents itself, get involved, take advantage of it, again, it doesn't have to be a lifelong opportunity, right? But you're exposing yourself to new and different things, and that can lead somewhere you never imagined.
Absolutely. We say all the time, you want your name on people's desks for the right reason because you volunteered to do something. They're like, oh, who's that? Or that name always pops up, and not for the wrong reason. And that's exactly what you have to do. It was funny. We were talking about this actually the other day and how we got started. And Tracy Bowers, our executive managing director, talked about, she was like, when I was on site, she's like, back in the day, we had to take our AME reports to the home office. She was like, so I would raise my hand every month. She's like, I'll drive it up there. She's like, and I would just walk around the office and see who was there and see who I could say hey to. Again, just making sure she was on the forefront of everyone's mind. So absolutely could not agree more. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for this time. This was amazing. I loved getting to hear a little bit more about your story and your journey through real estate and what all you guys have going on at Greystar. I mean, you guys are a powerhouse and a force to be reckoned with for sure. I mean, the amount of units that you guys have under management internationally, but in the Southeast alone, I mean, you have your hands full of it. You still make time for all of us. So thank you for everything you do for the industry. Thank you for everything you do for IREM and real estate as a whole, because everyone is better for what you do.
Thank you so much, Karen. And I really appreciate y'all reaching out and taking the time to hear a little bit about my story. And thanks for all you do as well for the industry and for IREM itself. And really appreciate being part of it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jamie. You have a great afternoon.
Thanks. You too.